click the button.
Hey,
I was wondering if it was,
here.
I was wondering if it was going to automatically switch over to us or not. So I figured I'd pull a mad face in order to, make it fun. So
Just do that.
there we go.
Have a little lo-fi background music there.
There we go. All right. Well,
Yeah.
welcome to right now. It looks like our one viewer, which might be one of us. I don't know. I don't know.
Probably me.
Yeah, there you go. But so what we're going to be accomplishing, this is our first time actually streaming this live. We already did one session of the show formerly known as Operation Seabiscuit, now known as the Get Ship Done show. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working live. We're going to be working out loud. We'll probably flip between Charlie projects and Zach projects, but what they will be actual things that we're working on. This is like Twitch streaming for entrepreneurs. So we'll see if I don't know. Hopefully we don't also feel the need to start an OnlyFans off of this, but
Hey, I've been told I've got beautiful feet. I'm just saying.
I was gonna say I got a camera.
I can contribute. And it's going to be a lot like parenting. We've got a general goal and have no clue what we're doing.
Indeed. So no guarantees, no clear expectations, except really, Charlie and I are doing this for us, and to start potentially a little bit more for me. But the key idea here is that Charlie's found we both work better together when we are working with another person, right? So and we found that we work well together, so we want to do that live, and we figured hey, this is a little bit of a way to add some extra accountability to this process as well, by doing this live, by coming on live and doing it out loud, working in public, and letting people watch. So this will literally be the stuff that we're actually if you're involved in either of our worlds, the stuff that we work on here, you will see promoted through email lists and through our inside our groups and our services and all that sort of thing. So we are actually live. I do see we got a couple of viewers. I think we have it so that like comments and stuff could work. If you're watching this and actually checking this out right now, go ahead and drop a comment. And then yeah, we got myself, we got Charlie Madison on in the command center, we'll say. I also have my assistant Muriel standing by and watching as well. So Muriel might occasionally make appearances. Maybe not in person. She doesn't have to, but she might come in and be helpful as well. So anything else that you want to say before we get started, Charlie?
I think, we can talk about, so we're using StreamYard to stream this. It's cool. We're streaming to 3 different phases. My Referrals While You Sleep, your personal page, a couple YouTube. We both have Crisp running in the background that we just use. And, one of the really cool things about this is your AI system takes recordings and converts it into content. And Referrals While You Sleep takes recordings and converts it into content. And so we're like, hey, let's just let other people see this. And I will say this is, I'm feeling a little like it's nervous. I shouldn't be nervous.
Right.
But, like, it's kind of nervous. Like, hey, we are live right now sharing like how the soup is made. Right?
Yeah. The soup. Interesting. You chose soup instead of sausage. Normally I would have put you as a sausage man.
Yeah.
Boo bros.
Surprise. All right. So what are we working on today?
Well, this one is actually, it's going to be kind of a quick minor diversion. So this is very much a working out loud sort of thing, but we want to do this right. We want to do this well, right? And so if we're going to start a show called Get Shipped Done, we need at least some sort of logo for this process. for this thing that we're gonna do, because we've got my cool logo up at the top right there. That's my name, but we are currently publishing this to my channels, your channels. So we want something that feels a little bit more uniform rather than too unilateral. So I figured we'd dive right into that. I'd start showing the process of how I think through quickly putting together a logo like this. Does that sound good to you?
Let's do it.
All right, so diving in, I'm going to, my screen share is available. So I'm going to go ahead and shift over to this. And then let's go into ChatGPT, and I'm going to have it start us out and say, please design me a logo for a show called Get Shipped Done. The idea for the show is that it's two digital entrepreneurs. I don't think I even close to spelled that right. Two digital entrepreneurs working out loud. Well, here, you know what I could do is this.
Copy the show notes.
I'm gonna copy this right here. Yep. The feel of the logo should be modern, minimalistic, iconographic, and should display well on a dark background. Let's see what it comes up with. And typically, what I like to use AI for in this front, and why I tend to start with ChatGPT for this. So Dolly actually isn't my favorite for, which is what this uses. It's not my favorite for getting these logos, but it's the easiest to like put rough ideas in, and it comes back with something that I could then start iterating on. So I want to make a couple notes. Don't include our names in the logo. Maybe use like a boat / ship as the icon for the logo. Do include Get Shipped Done. And make the text the emphasis rather than the icon, but have the icon present. And so, like, I might not even use anything close to this, but like, I'm trying to start getting ideas for a feel for what I like, what I don't like, that sort of thing, and then I'll actually flow through probably a number of different tools in this process. So, well, there we go. Yeah, something like that is starting to feel more right. I do like this idea of like kind of a simple like that, the Get Shipped Done like that. I don't know. What are you thinking about this overall?
Yeah, I like that. I have the idea of a pirate ship, and the YouTube logo is the flag.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so this is really close, but instead of a modern ship, use a pirate ship. I don't know if we'll have enough space or like have enough visual space to actually have much visible in the flag, but let's see.
Probably
use
not.
Use a pirate ship. I really like the way the Get Shipped Done came out. Let's keep the text looking like that. All right, and then I'll show you what we do from here. Yeah, I'm really liking that basic idea though. That feels like that could work well. And then Charlie, obviously, I'm watching my screen and what I'm doing. If you have any comments or anything come in, anybody asking any questions. All right, so it made it worse. I do like the pirate ship, but let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this now, and let's do this. Okay, let's switch gears. Now I just want the pirate ship asset. The feel should be using white lines, a minimalistic design, and the ship should look like it's dynamically coming out of the water. Let's see how that goes. And I'm going to see if I can get it to give me the portions of this that I want. While I'm doing that, I'm going to load up Canva and let it go ahead and start the process. So in here, I'm going to drop this in and go into uploads, go into this, and I'm going to click use in design. And from this, we're going to be able to extract out some stuff. So I'll show you that in a second. Oh, wow, that's too busy. I like the feel of that, but that's way too busy. Also, I need the bottom of the ship to be a flat line. All right, let's see. Let's see how this goes. That's getting closer to something that I like. I think we probably need to modify it a bit. But like if we cut it right around here, that would potentially work. So let's pull this out.
What's that little thing in the bottom right you're dragging the files to?
Oh yeah, that's called Yoink. It's an application for the Mac that lets you have like a little bar. And I don't even think about all these random tools that I use for this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's called Yoink. I might have it. Yeah, I'm getting access to it through Set App. I could probably track down my affiliate code for SetApp, but SetApp's really cool. SetApp is a subscription for apps, so you pay like $10 a month, and it gets you access to a bunch of different apps for the Mac. Of the ones that I use from this, I use Yoink. I use this Clean My Mac. Let's see. What are some of my favorites? Some of these I used anyway. So Bartender is really good. Clean Shot's good. Numi is one of my favorites. Ulysses is really good. MindNode, really what I figured out is like I was using a lot of these anyway. And this saved my. Go ahead.
Yeah, I use Bartender. I use Table Plus.
Yep.
So I've used some of these.
Yeah, Pixel Snap's really good for doing measurements on designs. GIFfox is fun. It lets you do a screen share, but the screen share is turned into a GIF automatically.
Nice. So I use Houdspot. Have you used Houdspot? Houd. So it is the best search tool on the Mac. Like, it's amazing. I use it multiple times every day.
Interesting.
And that's included here. Yeah. I've been using it probably like 6 years. Well, that's cool. Archive.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I mean, just how many of these I find useful. Like on even this typeface one. This one goes well with like if you're managing fonts on your computer, where it makes it just easier to see what your fonts look like, right? So when you add something into Font Book on the Mac, you could use typeface to take a look through them and see like, oh yeah, it looks like this. It's nice, it's useful. But yeah, so I use a ton of these. Sometimes like what I like about it, I like being able to just like try something out and play with it, see what I think. Some of them are great. Some of them I end up not using long term, but yeah.
This is great. I use Cloud Mounter. That's really cool. It's a way to
go ahead.
Yeah, SparkMail. I use SparkMail. Wow, like this is a great value.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's one of the easiest ways to to do this. So yeah, this Mosaic is really cool. So Mosaic makes it so that you can have your window snap to different sides. I think the Mac might have recently added something like that, but before that, this was there. Yeah, Cloud Mounter I used too. Clop is one that I just recently added. This one lets you it'll automatically optimize screenshots on your desktop to compress them so that they don't take up as much space when you leverage them
nice.
out. And then you could also, so like here, if I pull this off, yeah. So now I could clop this thing too. And what this will do is it'll do the same thing. So it'll automatically compress it. And then now I could grab it and throw it back in here. And now it's the compressed version. So it's it's not, it doesn't take up as much space. But that was clopped, or clop. Yeah, anyway, lots of cool stuff on here. I kind of continually go through and find oh, actually here, this clean my phone. I didn't know that this existed. I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm finding that my phone is a bit a bit overdone at the moment. So I might need to go in and use that. But anyway, yeah, that was Yoink to answer your question. So all right, so let's throw this in here, and then we'll do a couple of things. So let me show you some of my advanced strategies here in Canva for how I make this stuff work. So let's see. This one may not be clean enough. I'll show you how I would go through and do this, but let me get rid of the background. Okay, and then let's throw this on a background that feels dark. Okay, so this is just the built-in background remover in Canva. And then I could come in here and there we go. So I could do something like this. I think right about at that line feels like, well, maybe right about there actually. So I'm going to crop it like that. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to edit, magic erase. I'm going to get rid of these water splashes. I don't think they're actually adding anything. They're making it look muddier at the size that we're looking at. So I'm going to get rid of those. Here we go. And then, I don't know, what do you think? Do we want the... I do kind of like, actually, the little things coming off the back here. It makes it feel like the ship's in movement. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you like the little things in the back or no?
Yeah, I like it.
All right, perfect. So let's go in. Let's do this. All right, and then let me go out of this. And then now we're cropped down. We're cropped down to the bottom down there. And so what we could do is I come up into this one, and I'm gonna go edit. Not magic grab. I'm going to grab text. So what's cool about this? Yeah, let's do all text. There we go. Grab. It'll try and match the font, and it's not always great, but it at least tries to get you close. So that's cool. So I could take this, and I don't want the live interactive show. I just want the get shipped done part. And so I'm gonna grab this out of there. I'm gonna bring it down onto here, and let's crop this in further so that we have more clarity on the size of this. There we go. And I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. Maybe something like that. And let's bring this up. Let's bring this up. And let's do... I don't actually like this one. So I feel like is Babus new? Is that the one that I like? Let's see. I feel like that might be close to what we had before. Go back out of here. What did this feel like? So kind of a tall, narrow font. We have the boat sitting this way. I feel like part of the problem with our current boat is that it's tall. That's messing with the overall feel of the logo. But that might be okay. Okay, so to make this feel more similar, we bring it out like this. And I think that's what we're going to need to do. I think we're going to need to cut off a bit of the bottom of the ship. Let's see what feels right. Does that feel okay? Let's take a look. I think we cut off too much.
Looks like it's sinking.
Yeah, I think we need Like we're losing the feel of it being a ship if we go too far. So let's do that. I feel like that feels like that might work. What do you think about that in terms of the ship itself?
Yeah, that is good.
All right, let's come over here. I want something that's a narrow. Oh, condensed is the word. Condensed. Because I saw one of them. Okay, so Barlow might be right. Barlow condensed. No, I'm not liking that one. I want something taller. What's this one? No, I don't like the feel of that one. What's this one? Oh yeah, there we go. Palabas. I don't even know what that is, but yeah, that will work, and that gets us something that feels more narrow like this. How you liking that? Does that feel good to you?
Yeah, that's good. So like I'm not very visual, but you are. So I'm gonna go with you. It's fun to watch this. For the people that are watching this, one of the cool things is like when you work with your clients, like you actually like a lot of times do all this kind of nitty gritty stuff. Like I mean, we're starting a show and you're like, we gotta have a logo first. Like I would just skip that, and you're just kind of blowing through like the wizard. And so part of the reason I want to do this is I get to watch how you do stuff.
Right.
And then the people watching gets to see how you work with people. Like
right.
The project, like it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, so let's do that. I think this is the black that I want. I want that to feel like that matches. All right, I think that's looking about right. Okay, one thing that I'm noticing that's an issue though. So let's do this. I'm going to add a page real quick. I'm going to take this. Nope, not that. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this outline that I added, and I'm going to just leave the level of this that we want right here. I'm going to go to File. Actually, here I might be able to do it this way. Download. Let's see. Will it let me download asset? I'm not seeing it on here. Okay, what about this? Guides, duplicate page. No, okay, it's not letting me there. That's fine. Download, transparent background. I don't want all pages. I just want number 3. Don't want to compress it. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm getting our cropped version, because one of the things that I noticed was an issue is that it wasn't adding the outline to the bottom portion here like I wanted it to. So in order to get it to do that, I need to bring the asset back in already cropped, so that when I come up here, and now let's take a look. So I'll pull them side by side so you can see the difference. Edit, shadows, outline. Okay, see how it added the outline to the bottom there? That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want it to add it to the bottom like that. So let's do this. Let's bring it down here. What was my sizing of this originally? I'm just going to try and match that up somewhat. It looks like I got pretty close, actually. There we go. All right. And then get rid of that one. Pull this over here. And let's see. I want it down close to that a bit. And a little bit more like that. Okay, so the outline itself, the only reason why this matters, by the way, there's a couple different ways that we could do it. We could do it as a drop instead of the outline. I feel like the outline ends up looking cleaner though. Let's see, let's set that about there. And then, yeah, I have that as all black. Let's make sure this one's set the same so it doesn't end up looking weird. Okay. Perfect. Those are the same. All right. Yeah, that should be about good. I I was trying to explain something a second ago, and I lost it in the midst of just doing the thing. But yeah, so I want those close. I want that outline to come across the bottom. Otherwise, it looks weird when the bottom's cut out like that. So this, to me, this is us ending up now with our logo. Very specifically, a logo that'll work on a live stream. That is what this is for. And so download. I want a transparent background. And you know what? I want to take this and I want to resize. Let me get an approximate here. I don't want to have a bunch of extra space around this. Okay, so I'm looking at about 700 by 600. So I'm going to resize, custom size, 700 by 600. Copy and resize. Open that. I can delete this one, keep that one, delete this one. And then now this logo, if I adjust it out, here, let's again crop this down like that. There we go. And crop this up to the bottom there. Done. All right. Boop. All right, well, let's group this and let's do that. Center it. Okay, but I'm not going to actually center it because it's keeping a bit of white space on the bottom here that I don't want. I want to select the whole group. There we go. So right now I'm visually centering this. It's okay if it's not perfect, but it was a little bit too top heavy before. All right, that's about right. Okay, so now I've got the logo centered mostly with just a little bit of white space around it. That looks pretty good to me. So now I'm going to go to share, download. I'm going to go transparent. I'm going to compress it. And yeah, I think this will automatically redo the background for us, or redo the sizing for us rather. So here now, back in StreamYard, we're going to come into media assets. Going to add this logo. That logo. There we go. We're going to open that. We're going to set that. And then boom. Now we got a get shipped done logo on our stream. Looks like, hey, we got a couple of viewers and likes and stuff. So yeah, good stuff.
Look at that.
There you go. So that is the process. Let me remove that from the stream. That is the process that I would use to quickly go and develop a logo. How long did that take?
It was like 15 minutes, maybe.
Yeah. And I mean, this is not what I would consider a fully refined, done logo, right? Like, I mean, it's going to be done for us. It's going to be done for sake of, we probably won't spend more time on it. But if I was doing something for a client, or like we really needed to dial in the logo, I'd go a bit further than this. I'd clean up some of the stuff. I might actually take that pirate ship image, convert it into an SVG, and clean up some of the wonky lines that were left by AI. But for sake of this, none of those issues are really going to be detectable at the size that we're dealing with here. So yeah, so we got that good to go. Something else that
one thing I wanted to point out, that I mean, I really wasn't paying attention. I was just answering questions that you had. And I'm actually working on a real estate contract over here. And that's one of the cool things about working with you. Like, you're honed in, you're doing all your magic, and like I'm available. I can answer your question. You're like, what do you think about little farts off the back? I'm like, yeah, they're great. And
I like that. I like calling them little farts off
Uh,
the back.
I mean, that's like you just knocked it out. Like you're zoned in, and while we're doing this is the way you work best, and it actually works out great whenever we're working on projects or you're working with clients. Like this is how it works.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so, and yeah, I mean, like speak to that real quick. It's not just how I work best, but like in your experience, what you just saw, what you just experienced is pretty typical of when we're working together, right?
Yeah, yeah. And for me, like if I had to create a logo, I just would never do it, or I would have gone through that process, but it would have taken a week. Or maybe same thing. Go to 99 Designs, and now I've got a freelancer, and it takes a month because you got to go back and forth.
Right.
Or like, wow, that was done pretty quick.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, like we have something like I like it. Like this to me ends up. I feel like there's a balance on this stuff, right? Like sometimes you don't want to go too into the weeds on things that are unimportant. But like for me, starting to be able to connect with a logo, with a brand, with a feel of something, it starts cementing it in this space where it's like it's a real thing. It actually exists. It's like, oh, it's not just this thing that I can do. It's like there's this thing that now exists that I can put some work, put some effort into. Right. And so like doing it at that level where, so like you and I on the Colby, we're both quick starts. Yeah. Right. I'm recalling that. Right. Yeah. And I think, are we also both high on the fact finder? And I am high on the fact finder. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
We're both fact finders.
And so one of the things that I found, like the way that I talk about this, I tend to be really good at getting in and getting something done quickly and getting the rough draft, that prototype done. But what I found is that my rough draft prototype, because of like my extensive fact finder and how I do things, is often at sometimes it's better than what some people do if they spend months on it. Right? Like it's that. Go ahead.
And the fact that, as a kid, you wanted to be a comic book writer, right? You are an artist. You do have a visual for design. Like I can do what we just did with a program, but I can't with art,
Right.
So the fact that like you're so good with the visual, like ties in with it. That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So cool. Okay, so we got a logo. That is not actually a great example of the kinds of things that we're looking to accomplish on this, but this being our first actual live stream, and us in the process of figuring this out as we go, we really coming into this is what we knew. We knew we want to do something where we're working out loud live together, right? I knew that I needed that in order to accomplish the things that I need to get accomplished, right? Just the other things. In talking about this, we also figured out we're probably going to be switching back and forth between working on your stuff and my stuff, and it may not be like a fully even mix, but it'll be a mix, if that makes sense. Right. And so we had to go through. We had to dial in the name for something that we both felt good about to be able to do, and we had to do that, right? Like you had some reservations about our original name, so we dialed that in. We didn't do that live, but we didn't do it live on the stream. We did it before we went live, and so that's where we came up with the Get Shipped Done, which was actually a name that I had come up with in the past. That I was like, oh hey, I get to dust that off and use it. So we got that. We needed to dial in a description. In dialing in the description, that was part of what we figured out. It's like, okay, well, if it's not just going out to my audience and it's also going out to your audience, it needs to be presented as if it's us doing this together. We're equal co-hosts on this, and that people who are familiar with you see your name present. People who are familiar with me see my name present, and we get to have clarity of what this thing is and how we did it. So we did that live together. Then we developed the logo, and I'm feeling like our first session that we didn't do live, that we'll probably release at some point. It was recorded. Was us actually doing similar stuff to this, which is
Right.
what I would say, like, getting ready to do the thing, right? Of figuring out what does the live stream need to look like? What does the branding need to look like? What does this feel like? And I do think, I don't know, for me personally, I found I just have to be okay with acknowledging that I'm going to do some of that, right? That I'm going to make the thing feel right. I'm going to make the thing work right. I'm going to make it feel like something that I feel comfortable continually coming into, continually using, and building out the system to then just run that system the rest of the time. And so that's what we did the first time. We dialed in, like, how are we going to display our names? What does that look like? Having our URLs underneath and what URLs we want to show. And like that might change over time, but figuring out that we want some background music in here and how to do that. Getting some of these media assets dialed, that sort of thing. So we spent a session doing that. Then we got in and started working on just some other stuff that I needed to get accomplished, to like literally the technicalities of, I recently formed an S Corp and needed to get my Stripe stuff updated so that when we get to the point of putting out sales pages, that those are set up correctly, right? But yeah, I don't. I kind of went down a tangent. I don't know. Bring that home for me, Charlie. What was my point?
Yeah, like, you got to get set up a lot of times to be able to move quick later,
right?
And like for me, I mean, this came up. I was like, what you do is amazing. Like, you help people get 12-week projects done in a week. You know. And give or take, but I mean that's what you do it. And like the way you do it is very unique to you, very valuable. And I was like, well, let's, like, me and you have done this before. Let's just do it live.
Right.
And like, so one of the things is, like I said, I would never do that locally. And in the long run, it actually is going to make a nice big difference.
Right.
And like, there's a number of things that you usually have to do up front to get a project going that I would skip, or if I hired a freelancer, it would take 3 weeks to back and forth. Or if I delegated it to a team, the teammate would take 3 weeks. And you've got the quick start, and we talked about this, you've got this compulsion. You have to get it done right, you have to get it done thorough, and you have to get it done now. And so like it just got done. And so like, to be able to, like, that's part of what people are seeing here.
Yep, exactly. And shoot, in the process, I mean, some of the other things that we saw, I didn't even think about the fact, like, Yoink is literally a tool that I use every day, multiple times a day, a ton of times. And so you being able to watch over the shoulder and just seeing that happen, I never would have even thought to point out, like, I use this tool called Yoink that helps. It's like, literally, you only see some of that stuff by literally watching the process happen. And it's probably one that you're like, oh yeah, I see that being useful.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons you can move so fast is, going back to willpower doesn't work. You have built a computer environment so you can move very quickly, and that's a small thing, but it adds up. I was like, oh, I need to have that.
Yeah. I mean, and another part of my process that would be hard to display through this sort of view, but I have my laptop down here and then a screen up at this level, and then I set my camera right above the screen so that when I'm looking at the screen that I'm typically working on, I'm looking close to eye level, right? It's not full eye contact, but it's better than when I'm looking down here at my at my laptop screen. But having those two screens, that makes a massive difference. And I know a lot of people are used to having two monitors, but some people may not be. And if you're not currently working with two screens, man, here, like, let me pull this up real quick. Even if you want to be able to be as, whatchamacallit, here, let me get this pulled up, as portable as possible. Let me add to stage. There we go. Even just getting something like this. So this is nothing super special. It's $70. That's not super expensive. What this is a portable monitor. This isn't even necessarily the one that I would recommend. This is just the first one that came up. You can get the right kind where it will literally, if you've got a MacBook, This plugs in via USB-C with one cord that both powers it and is the display connection. And so you can get yourself 2 monitors that you can literally, both of these, like look at this thing. This ends up being about the size of a, it's smaller than my MacBook, right? It's thinner than my MacBook, and it comes with like a cover that makes it so that the screen is protected. So you can literally throw this in a backpack, throw this in a case with your computer, and if you go out and work at Starbucks, you could still have 2 monitors. This is something that I use all the time. An iPad as a secondary display works well too. With I forget what it's called. Do you remember what that's called? The secondary monitor thing that you can do with the iPad. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know.
Let me see.
I call it screen mirroring or something.
They had a specific name for it. Screen mirroring is where the setting is. They had a different name for it though. Anyway, but an iPad is a great option too if you happen to have an iPad, but you don't need, $300 to $1,000 device depending on what iPad you get in order to get that functionality. You could spend $60 to $70 and get that aspect of what you need. Through a secondary monitor like that. But yeah,
that's
like literally
cool, the idea of having a second portable, like if I'm at Starbucks, that I can still set that up there. I never thought of that.
Yeah. Well, and so for me, part of what I did, so I lived full time in an RV for about 6 years, and it was really important to me to be able to take my entire workstation wherever I was. When I could, I would work out of the RV. If I had a good enough connection, that I would work out of the RV, and I had a setup to make that work well. But there were times where I had to like drive to where I could get to an internet signal. Like I'd have to go to a McDonald's or a Starbucks, or even sometimes just go to like the campground lodge or whatever to be able to get an internet signal. And so me being able to say, hey, like I need to not be limited by my location. So I need everything that is important for me to be able to do to be able to happen portably, right? And so I had to track down solutions, and that's why this one came up. Now, literally today, this monitor that I have up right now is actually still that portable monitor. I just have it mounted up here to be able to use it. It's nothing special. It's not a massive, like it's not a massive display, and I might get some value out of that. But like, man, like I sort of thrive sometimes on like, I don't want to overspend just for the sake of overspending, right? I like getting things done cost effectively. I'm not against spending money on the things that are necessary, right? Like when I bought my computer is a solid computer. I didn't cheap out on it. Because it's core to what I need to get done. So it's not that I'm against spending money on things, but I really do like figuring out how I could find the things that are as cost effective as possible to get a massive return on anything invested in it. And this portable monitor has really served me well. And not a great $60 to $70.
You take a lot of pride in being thrifty.
I do.
Is that fair to say?
I do. Yes, indeed. But yeah, and I'd say like my thriftiness isn't just about trying to do everything as like completely cheap, as much as like, I don't know, seeing what's possible at least, and being willing to spend on the things that actually matter. But yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's continue on. So we got a logo developed. We got the show concept. Okay, here's one other thing that I'd just like to kind of show to people. So, Mural, are you still here and listening? If you are, go ahead and drop a message in the private chat here in StreamYard, just so I can see. Yeah, perfect. Okay, one thing that I want you to do for me, Mural, can you research free, royalty-free, looping background audio tracks that are geared towards streamers? Can you research sources for that for me, so that we have some options that we could potentially do to add into the stream? Because I know there's at least been one time where Charlie felt the need to switch the audio track because this was getting old. And I imagine that's going to happen again. And so I'd like us to have options So Mural, in that vein of what you could be looking for, there's probably some sites that already exist that we could just grab stuff from. We don't want to spend money on this. This is something that we just want to see what's available. We might be able to AI generate something like this. The key would be that it would be something that could loop, though. Something that it generates enough, but it could be a looping track that just keeps running. So see what you can find for me on that. And then in terms of style of music, I feel like this is about right. This lo-fi, you know, we want, like, if it has a little bit of a beat, a little bit electronic, that'd be okay. It should fade into the background pretty well, have a little bit of energy, but not be distracting. Does that sound right?
It's kind of like the music that Brian Romell talks about, right?
Exactly. But yeah, if you can research that for us and then find some options and then maybe throw them in the chat so that we could consider them, that'd be good. I mean, this is an example to me of, like, this is the kind of thing that I could dive into myself, and I'd be able to research this pretty well. But it makes more sense for one thing, I bet Mira will have a little bit of fun trying to track things down doing this. Like, this is it's a task for her that I bet will be somewhat enjoyable. Mira, let me know if I'm right, that this is more than just a I don't know, just an assignment. I feel like you'd actually enjoy kind of tracking this down, and you might use it yourself in other things, other projects at other times. But yeah, yeah. See, so I know Mira well. I know that this is the kind of task that she'd enjoy. But and what anybody who's watching, we have a private chat going on in StreamYard, so that's what I'm reacting to. Okay, so she's going to be tracking that down. So I've got that process running. So mentally for me, Charlie, like, the way that this works is, like, whether it's with AI or whether it's with people, I've got the thing now out of my mind and running somewhere, right? And so it's going, it's working. And Meryl, just let you know, it's not super urgent. So if you don't, like, note that as well. You don't have to find it during the stream. If you're able to divert to that, then cool. If not, then feel free to do the research, and on one of these other episodes, we'll have that available. So just let you know for sake of priority. And then what we use to actually track our work together is we use a tool called Lean Time. At this point is what we're using. It's an open source project manager. There's some things that still need to be improved on it for me to fully love it. But one of the things that it does well is that it makes it really easy and clear to set up who's working on what, be able to track time, track things to specific clients, track projects as a whole versus the tasks that are needed to complete them. And it's open source and something that we self-host on Alessio. So so yeah. And so this is something like, Miro, for you could add this as a task. That's something that you could be working on, but you don't have to. So if you have something else that's more pressing, then feel free.
Do you guys use ClickUp? I wouldn't assume you do.
We did before. I have a high aversion to things that I see myself getting to the point where, in order to keep using it, I have to start to upgrade to a per user cost. If I can pay for something and not get to that per user cost, then I'm much more likely to consider it. I'm much more likely to use it. I hate per user costs. They're the bane of my existence because it makes me have to factor for more things than I want to factor for when it comes to, like, profitability and stuff. So I'll pay per user costs on Google. I'll pay per user costs on some things, but if I see that, like, in daily use for the way that I use things, if in order to get to the next level, I'm gonna have to do a per user cost, then I don't like it. So ClickUp we had been using before this. I switched to Lean Time to preemptively prepare for the future. Because you have to go to a per user cost in order to not be limited by, like, the number of tasks or the number of, I forget what it was. There was some aspect that I looked at. It was like, okay, I'm going to hit that limit. I know that I'm going to hit that limit, and I would be willing to pay, but I don't want to pay per user. in order to do this. I want to be able to factor that I just use this tool so that I can adapt up and down as needed. But anyway, does that answer that question?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like I also considered alternatives like using NocoDB and building out my own project management through that. That would be doable, but lean time does the majority, like it does everything that I need in a package that's already designed well with a good UI and all of that. And so it's easier for us to easier for us to build out a system that's usable with more people. Like I'm even running some projects with my wife through lean time as well. So things that like she's working on professionally too. So anyway, so and makes it so that I don't have to train her as much either in order to be able to use it. Whereas if I built something out in NocoDB, it's gonna require some learning in order for somebody else to kind of learn how to do it. But yeah.
Nice.
All right, what do we got next? So like the overall project. Well, let's talk this through. So this is the other thing that I like to do in these kinds of meetings is just to make sure to set the intentions. Like let's reset for a second here. What time are we going till, by the way? We go until 1?
What do we have? I'll have to look. One thing while I talk to you, I often just pull up all these tools you talk about. So I got to switch tabs. Yeah. We've got till 1. So.
Okay, perfect. So setting the intention kind of for this latter part of this session. Since this is something that we can both work on whatever we need to, I know what's high priority for me is getting a mid-ticket offer launched. And the mid-ticket offer that I'm working toward is selling access to Brandy. And Brandy is my agentic assistant that I set up that takes the transcripts from anything that I do in a meeting like this. It'll do it with this. Although I think my Zapier tasks are on hold right now, so it may not technically do it with this right now. But what it does is it automatically turns the meeting transcripts into social posts, and I can start to have it do anything like emails, blog posts, that sort of thing. But what it does is it extracts the components, turns it into individual social posts, and then presents those to me in Telegram to say, hey, here's a new post that you could use. So I want to take that, I want to turn it into a mid-ticket offer where I show people where I set it up so that other people could get access to it, and I sell access to that. So that's one thing that I want to do. What right now for you are your priorities? And then let's think through what is the best way that helps us both most accomplish our goals. Because there might be a way that we skin 2 cats.
So mine is a mid-ticket offer that teaches people referrals while you sleep.
Okay.
At a high level. So it's pretty similar. Like it's basically, here you can do what we do if you'd like, or I'm the easy button, And so like personally too, I'm okay helping you launch yours because as you do that, it'll be a rep. Because I think it's fair to say one of our goals this year is to have a mid-ticket launch cadence that leads. So, that'd be kind of cool if me and you once a month work together to both of us launch a mid-ticket,
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that would be a good cadence to be able to achieve. And I think let's think through this real quick, because there's some possibility that what I'm looking to launch with Brandy could fit as an offer that helps you in your goals too. There's the overarching principle of anybody that comes into my world. What you do with referrals while you sleep is such a good fit where what you do is you make content marketing easy in terms of getting the right eyeballs on your content, right? So you make that aspect easy because the most right eyeballs first and foremost are going to be the people that are already in your world. And so you've figured out how to make that process easy and automatic. And so anything that we do to help people get more content out, have more stuff that enters their ecosystem, it gives you more assets to be able to elevate for them, right? So there's some good alignment that way that could potentially make sense. Let's think real quick. I want to think through this, because when I think mid-ticket offer, I have a very specific like framework in mind for how I'm thinking through it, which is most often like you have your premium system, and your premium system is kind of the overarching how I continually serve people at a high level. For me, that's the Amp Intel Elite at the moment. For you, that is referrals while you sleep. Like that to me is a premium offer, right? Tell me a little bit more about when you say you want a mid-ticket that teaches people how to do referrals while you sleep. Why, and what does that accomplish for you? Walk me through that real quick.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a couple of different things that this should solve.
Okay.
So one of my clients just referred me to 3 agents in her office.
Okay.
And referrals while you sleep does not exist in the market. Like there's nothing like it. And so like the only way that I know to explain what it does is I give you a high level overview, try it for 90 days, and it feels like magic.
Right.
You know, like there's like, without getting too technical, you know.
Right.
So one, it would be really nice to be able to, you know, have some simple training that shows, like, I could say, you know, if you want more info, here it is. The other thing is I've got some, like, a lot of like newer agents have more time than money.
Right.
And after the 90 days, they're just like, I just don't have the money. And so it'd be nice to be able to serve them.
Okay, perfect. So
and there's one more.
Cool. Go ahead.
And this might be one of the most important to me. I make it so easy,
right,
that many of my clients think, oh, like what he does is just super simple, and like I can have anyone do that. So I've got a lot of people that have assistants, or like one of the agents the other day just said, all that you do is post pictures. I can do that.
Right.
And so like to be able to, it's one of those things, like I'll give you all the details to what we do, because it's taken a lot of work to make it seem really simple.
Right.
Because I think that'll help the positioning, help the selling.
That makes sense. Okay, so let me reframe this a little bit for you in a way that I think might be helpful as well, which is one of my key lessons from the Zach Hansen world of the mid-ticket offers. Hey, look, we got Miro found some stuff for us. So we'll take a look at those in a second. But one of the things that I found really useful in the mid-ticket offer sort of thought process and framework is that I don't think of mid-tickets as serving anyone other than my premium audience, right? And so I'm going to focus on serving my premium audience and essentially open the doors to more than my premium audience. Okay. And so in that vein, here's some ideas that I have for you. How well documented do you have your process, your onboarding, your training, so that for your team who's getting people set up, that they have a clear flow to say, here's what it looks like to get somebody set up? How well organized and documented do you have that?
It is somewhat documented. I mean, the team has documented it. That's not my big strong point, you know. And, you know, with me being the quick start, I'm always improving it. Right. So, I mean, I've got something set up for last month where we're always, I mean, every month we're changing stuff. Right.
Right. So what I'm wondering is maybe what you can do that unlocks this mid-ticket for you is because like here's what I'm hearing. Like I just had a conversation with somebody else about this. So a similar zone to you is somebody who does like podcast production, right? So I was just discussing this with somebody else about the idea of like, honestly, a very similar issue. Alex Hormozy talks about this, right? He talks about the idea that when you're doing if you want to learn something quickly, your best route is to find an agency that'll do it for you, that is also willing to teach you how to do it. So, and you pay for that. You pay for them to teach you how to do it, and then you ultimately in-house it, and you could potentially outperform the agency in the long run, because you could give it your personalized attention. And I think that's typically a true model. What you could do is you could like leverage the reality of that, and you say, what are my assets that I use to teach my own team how to do the stuff? And can I just make minor tweaks and changes to that so that it's essentially the same content that I would have somebody else go through to learn this process, right? That I would have somebody else to go through to essentially, like, the way that you think about it is you onboard your own team. Well, can you just onboard somebody else's person to do the same process? And set it up so that people have access to that way. And I think you are right that there's probably some parts of the mechanism that like that you'll need a little bit of polish, a little bit of context to give somebody who you're not specifically onboarding the information that they need. But ultimately you're a lot more leveraged if you have them literally just flow through the same process, that you say, hey, this is what our current process looks like. This mid-ticket offer is essentially a bit of the wrapping around this process that we flow our internal team through anyway. Right? Does that make sense?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then I would imagine it solves that problem where you're sort of saying, hey, the thing that somebody wants to do or wants to learn is, how do I do this myself? Well, to learn how to do it yourself, you show them your process for how you have your team do it, and you get the leverage. You get the leverage out of creating a better asset for your internal team, which ultimately serves your premium clients. But you get to leverage that out even further, and ultimately, some of your premium clients may have need for this too, where they ultimately want to in-house it. And if you set it up right, there's actually still some long-term benefits too, where maybe they aren't using the full suite of referrals while you sleep, but they still want access to your magic link tool, right? And that's going to cost them, right? Like they still need something that's going to be able to keep them having those audiences automatically built, right? That's something that would be really hard for them, to do themselves, especially. They might need access to the system that you build out and use internally in order to actually do the posting, and like the way that you think about connecting things together and all of that, right? Sure, maybe they don't need you to actually be running the ads. Like maybe long term you get these other systems set up and they want to go in and run the ads, set the budgets and whatnot. Right. Okay, but they still probably need you for these other things. And you could essentially train up their person who will run it, keep that person involved in your community so that they're getting access to the updates and improvements and stuff over time. It might be a slightly different cost, but ultimately still serves the same group of people.
Right.
What do you think about that? How does that feel?
Feels bigger and more daunting.
Does it?
Yeah. But that could be good. I mean, part of the goal of it is to say, hey, if you've got more time than money, here, go ahead and do this. If you want to hire an admin to do it, I mean, that could work really well.
Right.
Because one, it is a really good snapshot of what we are. It will show, truly how daunting it is. We've been working on this for 5 years. It's crazy, probably even show some holes in our system where we can improve it, and there's also this fear
Right.
man, if I show my internal systems, like,
Right.
whoa, you know, and but then I kind of think back to Dan Sullivan, you know, like you can take everything that I do today and in 6 months it's going to be obsolete because I'm always growing. You know, my
Right.
feature's always bigger than this. Like
Right.
we just launched the feature I've been working on since last June, and we're already
Right.
working on the next features, right? So,
Right.
and that, you know, this is again one of the things that I like. Like I've got an idea, and like there's part of me that doesn't like your idea. You
Right.
know, like it's challenged me. And I also kind of think, yeah, I mean, it actually helps me get more like, I mean, it's almost like three birds in one stone. Like it really helps me get more of where I want to be.
Right.
So,
And so let
so,
me
so yeah,
see if
I'm open to that.
this makes it feel any easier. Right now, what do you do to onboard somebody in your team to train them up on your process? What does that look like?
I mean, they, I have them watch some videos of our weekly calls and what we've done, and then they sit with me and, you know, watch me do it.
How long does that process typically take?
A few weeks.
How much in terms of hours?
I don't know. I've got no clue.
If you had to guess.
I'm trying to. Well, I mean, one thing I'm really good at keeping team members now. So
Right.
it's actually been. I mean, it's been a long time since I brought on a team.
Right.
I don't know. Let's say 40 hours.
40 hours. Okay. So are there clear phases to that process of the 40 hours, and how much of that 40 hours is the so when I train people, the way that I think about it is I do it, you watch, you do it, I watch, you do it, right? Like that phase.
Yeah.
And so in that process, the I do it, you watch is most of the actual training. The you do it, I watch is more of like a feedback process, right? And then the you do it is just now it's officially on their plate, and there's still, you know, changes and stuff over time. But thinking through it that way, if you know, for the 40 hours, do you think if you just showed somebody kind of a live view of here's what you go through and do, do you think it's that full 40 hours that you're doing that, or is more of it, or is some portion of that the you do it, I watch?
Oh yeah, of course. Some of that's that you do it, I watch. You know.
Okay.
So I mean, we've got the initial onboarding, which is like client setup,
Right.
and then we've got the what we do when we receive the content.
Okay.
So we've got the two parts. You know, we've got the combine the photos and testimonials, and we've got the long videos. We've got our process to convert the long videos into, you know, short clips.
Right.
And then we've got the process of combining all those assets, creating the captions, scheduling them.
Right.
And like that, I mean, that right there would be like one training. And then, you know, a completely different one would probably be how we run the ads. You know, like, I mean, those are really two separate gifts, you know.
Right.
And so, you know, so it could be, you know, either one of those, you know, and then how we run the ads is, you know, you got to post the content, and then you got the campaigns, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So like, I wonder, I would bet that what we could do for you on yours is that you run it as a cohort, and that you set it up as two different offers. One of the offers is all about one of the offers is all about how you essentially set up your system to be able to do content marketing at scale to the right people, right? And that to me is like the magic link setup, the kind of the laying out of the strategy of what kind of content to do, assembling your different your different assets, your different buckets, and maybe a rough idea of like how to use them. StreamYard and recording in StreamYard and why, and how to think about your recordings and that sort of thing. So I do that where it's mostly like here's how you get your engine ready. Then the secondary one being now here's how you amplify what you do. Right. And so, you're gonna, here's how you set up the ads. Here's how you take the content that you're producing and produce derivative assets off of it. And then amplify those. Right. And that might even be 2 sub trainings in and of itself. Because like the key thing that I look for is somebody buying a mid-ticket offer. What they're buying is they're buying some sort of result, right? And what is the result that I could wrap my head around to say this feels like it's something that's at least valuable, right?
Right.
And then for you, like the delivery of it doesn't need to feel hard at all, right? Like what you do is you set a time, once a week where you're going to spend 2 to 4 hours taking somebody through literally whatever the step of the process is. So like, what's the first step? What's that? Giving them the overview, showing them how to do it. And you already know how to do all that because that's what you've had to train somebody how to do. So you're just walking people through that. And then potentially having a secondary session that's like what questions are you running into? What problems are you running into? I'd probably chart that out and figure out, if you had to make your best guess, what are kind of the key phases of the process? And then chart it out to see, is it, you get the first part in 4 weeks, in 2 weeks, in 1 week. Like, I don't know. You'd have to think through like what all's involved in that, and knowing that most of your time is going to be spent just showing people how to do the process.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. You kind of have the onboarding / setup of the system.
Right.
Then you've got the derivatives and the posting, and then you've got the amplification.
Yep. Yeah. And so I see that as three separate offers. I think your first, you know what you could do? You could do them in reverse. Right? Because if you do them in reverse, then what you're doing is the second 2 can be bonuses for the first one. And so you're essentially giving them the full system, where it's like the first one, nobody just wants the onboarding, if that makes sense.
Right.
But if you're going to take them through the onboarding as a training after, like, and they get the other things as a bonus, the whole system that they're going to have gives them the whole complete end result. Does that make sense? And so, let me think through that. Would it be reverse, or would it be, it's possible that actually starting with how do you take long form content and turning it into derivative, that getting that first and then doing the amplification. Now that you have this content, how do you amplify it? And then you end with, now how do you set up your engine to make this process like really easy to do at scale? I think that sequence of stuff gets you your end result of, you have a complete package of a system that is a referrals while you sleep system, but you get to deliver live separate mid-ticket components that each individually feel valuable, that you can have a promotion each time in a slightly different way to be able to launch. Does that feel right?
I like that. Yeah. Hey, I want you to talk just solo for a while. I've been drinking too much water. I'll be right back.
Fair enough. All right. Well, while you pulled yourself off. While you're doing that, I'm gonna look at these links. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. There we go. Okay, so I'm pulling up these links that Muriel sent over. So she found stuff from Pixabay. And let me check this. I'm gonna stop my share for a second, and I'm gonna present again. Share screen. All right, if I share a tab, then I can share audio as well. So let me do that. and I'm going to pull these tabs off over here so that I could see a little bit better what's going on. And then we'll be able to test out these different audios and see what we think. All right, perfect. Let me cancel this out. Let me share my screen again. Share screen. All right, I'm going to share this one. Perfect. Okay, so we got some things to test out here. I'm going to drop the background music off for now, and then we're going to test these out. Meryl, if you're still there, let me know. Can you hear this? Is that coming through on the stream? Hopefully it is. Hopefully the audio's coming through. All right, perfect. All right. I'm liking this one. How does it end? Let's see. And then how does it start? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that one would sound like looping. All right, then I need to switch which tab I'm sharing. Stop share, present. All right, this will be a little bit annoying for a second. Yeah, here we go. Let's do this one. Okay, so this is the groovy ambient funk. Ooh, that's loud. Ooh, I like that one too. All right, how does it end? Yeah, that one feels like that one might loop better. I think it's more designed for the looping. All right, let me stop my screen share again. I wonder if there's a way that I can just update the tab. I don't know. All right, we're going to go to share this movement one. All right. Charlie, give me a thumbs up if you're good to come back in. I can add you back in. All right. Oh, you added yourself, but I clicked remove because. All right. So what we're doing right now, we're just reviewing the background sounds that Muriel found. So I'm sharing the audio at the same time. You should be able to hear this too. All right. Let's try this one. How do you like this one?
Let's see what happens when it gets louder there.
Let's see.
Could be good. I wonder if the difference in low to loud will work good, because it goes from low to loud. So
right,
I think we might need something that's more steady. But let's see.
Even. All right, so that's that one. Let me present a new one. Actually, here I'm gonna try this differently. I'm gonna open a new tab. I'm gonna go to this first one, and then let's see if I update them. All right, we're gonna try something new. We're gonna learn something live here to see if I can make it so that I just share one tab. And what do I want? I want deep future. This one, hopefully. Okay, tell me, can you hear the audio? Did I share it right? Can you hear the audio?
A little bit. Not
How
as
about
loud
now?
as okay. Yeah, but I think it's through your speakers.
Oh, you know what? Well, you're not hearing it through my speakers, but you know what? What's probably happening? Crisp is yeah. Crisp is cutting out the well, maybe not. No, I don't have the active going. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, you know what? Your Crisp is probably cutting it out. If you have the so if you go into Crisp and then look at your speakers, turn off the active noise cancellation for your speaker. I've ran into that issue before where I couldn't hear it, but it was on my end that it was cutting it out.
All right.
See if
Let's see.
see if that fixes it for you. I'll leave it running while you're doing that, so you can see if it changes.
I can hear it okay now.
You can hear it okay now?
Yeah.
All right, so we got this deep future. Now, let me see if I take this and throw this in here. Okay, this one's called Glossy. Yeah, and it did update it, so that's good. I haven't listened to this one yet. Now let me hear how it ends. Yeah, I mean so some of these are not set as well to be looping. I think only one of these is set to specifically be looping. Let me find it. This one. So this one here, this one's really set to be looping. And you can kind of see like it goes right up to the end.
Throughout.
Yeah. And like it literally just cuts off, but I bet yeah, this one will loop well. So let me get these downloaded. Download that. All right, perfect. Groovy ambient funk. I'm gonna download some of these other ones too, and then we'll have them in the StreamYard whatchamacallit for this. And then I mean you can feel free to to play with which ones you end up liking. So let me stop my screen share real quick. And in pursuit of sharing what's happening live, I'm going to come back and share this screen again so people can see. All right, so we're in here. I'm going over to media assets, coming down to background music. Let's see if I got the file types right for this. Recommended file type MP3. Okay, max 30 megabit. Let's see if these are 4, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, all of those. Let's see. Will it let me add all of them? Open. Okay, let's see. And then how did it add them? Okay, so it's got them down there. Can you pop into your end and see if so like Glossy should be ready. And see if they added through on your end. Oh, and then I had like muted the background. Turn it up a little bit. Is it coming through all right for you?
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah.
Boom. All right. Well, we got some new options. We can play with them, see which ones we like or not. If you happen to be watching, you can let us.
Which is the one that you showed at the end? Looked like it would be the best made for looping.
That one was Groovy Ambient Funk. There we go.
It reminds me of did you ever play the Xbox game Fusion Frenzy?
I did not.
Oh man, it's so fun. It's like a little arcade game. You got 4 people and you do like American Gladiator type games. And
Nice.
It had music like this the whole time. Whenever we meet, all of us and our kids will have to play that game because it's a lot of fun.
That sounds good. Good call. Yeah. Well, we will. We will have to actually meet each other sometime in person.
One of these days.
One of these days. Oh, it switched and then it switched back. What happened?
I know. I'm trying to switch back. I'm used to you being on the other side, but I can't switch here.
There we go. I just switched it. It
You
took me
did.
like
Thank
3
you.
times to make it work.
Yeah.
I just kept doing the same thing over and over of dragging it, and it took like 3 times to make it work.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so
What do you?
so talking through the mid-ticket offers.
Yeah.
So for you, I feel like that's probably the right sequence. The right sequence is likely the long form into derivative, because I think people would find that valuable by itself, right? Like your process for how you're doing that. That could be its own mid-ticket offer. No, and then know that you're ultimately like building out. I'm going to piece these together as an overall system that I end up being able to sell as well. So that one, and then I think your next one is probably how to amplify it, right? And like in both of those, part of what I would be telling people is I'd be saying like, you know, hey, and then you're going to run some ads. That's beyond the course, or you know, the scope of this offer. If you join referrals while you sleep, we'll gladly show you how to do that process. We'll actually run this for you. But anyway, so it gives you the opportunity there. You can also mention, like, you'll also have the ability to mention in all of these, if you're part of referrals while you sleep, you will get access to these trainings when we release them. Our plan is to be working on these over the next couple of months. So you'll automatically get access to all of them if you do that. And then, anyway, so I think I would start with long form to derivative as a thing. I'd do amplify, you know, like how to run ads, like how we think about running ads, our system for running ads to the right people, that sort of idea. I'd do that one that really focuses in on like strategically, what do you set up, all of that. And it might be a little bit light on the, like, you may not go into too deep how you set up the right audiences and whatnot. That's more of your onboarding course.
Right.
But you would still touch on it. You'd still say like, this is the kind of audiences that you want. Now with referrals while you sleep, we use something called the magic link that makes this really easy and effortless and automated. But what you're going to do is you're going to get access to these links. You're either going to download those and upload them or whatever. Key thing here though is you either got to build a habit to do anyway. You get this idea. So like you would talk about each of those, and then you would show the process, and then I think you end with the how we do the setup, knowing that you won't just like really what you're doing is you're think about it this way. Mentally for you, the workload is that you are delivering just the onboarding. But when you do the third sale is actually selling the complete system, right? Like, because you're just using the training that you already captured to close the gap on the end portions of the system. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, that does make sense.
How does that feel in terms of mentally, like, it's more work overall, but I feel like what we just did is we turned what you thought would be one mid-ticket offer into 3 powerful mid-ticket offers that you have 3 opportunities to get you where you want to go, each one of them giving you an opportunity to make sales, both on the mid-ticket and on referrals while you sleep, and still ending up in the same place of you having that offer ready, that you can reliably say, hey, if you can't do our full system, we have something else for you.
Yeah, I like that. I like starting with the content, then moving to the amplification, then like the plumbing, the onboarding,
right,
which is necessary but boring.
Right. And so what's nice is that you do that thing of like, it's hard to sell the onboarding, but if you sell the whole system and you just know that like the new thing that you're going to create is the onboarding for that part, then you don't have to, like, you're not mentally committing to each of these offers. You're doing, like, you're not looking at a 12-week thing in terms of one offer. Right. You're looking at probably a 1 to 2 week offer, a 1 to 2 week offer, and then another 1 to 2 week offer, maybe 3 or 4 week offer for the onboarding. Right. But each one is a separate sale.
Right.
I like that. Yeah, I feel excited about like just figuring that out, honestly, because like I think that, like, I know for me, like my gut on the first thing was like you're right. This is originally sounding like this would be this is going to be hard, like, because you're looking at like a 12-week thing to be able to deliver on it. I'm like, man, I don't want to make one mid-ticket sale in order to sell a 12-week thing. That sounds like its own premium thing. But I think we figured out how you could get to the same end result with more sales opportunities.
Yeah. And there's so much I like about that. Because I mean, this goes into the original thing, which was build a product that stands on its own, and then we haven't mentioned. Oh, you mentioned Alex Ramosi once, so here's our second time. No burpees required yet, but I've seen him post a couple times. He says, "Study direct response marketers and learn everything you can from them."
Right,
and then study software companies,
right,
and or study direct response marketers. Forget everything that they say unless it deals with marketing. Then study software companies and implement everything they do, which makes a lot of sense. And I just kind of flipped it where, like, let's start with a product that's solid that can keep getting better.
Right. And
now we're learning how to use content to bring in the audience. And this thing, because really, I mean, at the end of the day, what I want is I want to create the habit of always putting out good educational content for our clients and potential clients and marketing that way.
Right.
And so this seems like a good 90-day plan to create a habit.
Well, and not only that, like here's the other thing that I like about this. This might be all that you need to do in perpetuity is these offers. Because the reality is, if your goal is to launch a mid-ticket offer a month, we just came up with 3 months, which means that you could cycle these every quarter, and you're still solid, right? And here's the reality: in 3 months, are you going to have some new insights, some new changes on what you talk about in the derivative content?
Yeah,
probably, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to potentially have some new insights, some updates on the ads? Probably, right?
Right.
And you're hopefully over time continuing to improve your software and your systems and making onboarding easy. I know that's part of what you're actively working on. So even your onboarding portion gets updated, and you still have new things to promote, new things to talk about, while still talking about the same thing over and over and over again. And even if you didn't, even if you had nothing new, you could still launch the onboarding or the derivative content mid-ticket offer as its own thing. You could launch it as that, and they get access to the stuff that you already recorded. And really what you're offering is one live call that's designed to be an opportunity to answer people's questions, give them feedback, and that sort of thing. And so and that feels easy, right? Because you have the actual like delivery mechanism done. And so, like, what I love about this is it literally could be like, it could take care of your entire, here's my mid-ticket offer schedule. It doesn't have to, though, right? Like it's like you could simultaneously feel like, hey, this can be done. I literally could just run this play over and over and over again.
Right.
And that would be fine. While still having the opportunity that, like, you don't need to, right? Like if you have something else that you're like, I want to cover this new topic, I want to get this new thing in the mix, you still are able to. If you need to update a course, you have an easy roadmap, an easy mechanism to say, yeah, here's how I do it. Here's how here's where it works. Yeah, I don't know. I love that for you. I think that could work really well. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good 90-day plan, and we'll see what develops from there. Yeah, I think that would be really cool to have just that.
Right. Yeah, and here's the reality. People coming into it, if somebody's looking to do it themselves, if somebody's looking to build up the system, they're not going to launch it quicker on their own than they would going through you. Like that's not a thing. And so the reality is that's probably even the right pacing for if somebody's mentally like, oh, I just want to do this myself. I just want to have my assistant do it. It's like, cool. This part of the process is going to be their project for the month. Like this isn't they're just going to start doing it this week, right? Like you're saying you want to launch this. Okay, cool. It's going to take somebody at least a month to like get up and running the systems, and a month might be quick. Right? Yeah. But cool.
But yeah, I like that. One guy said his goal is that whenever he onboards a client or a customer,
right?
Whenever he onboards an employee, he wants to be able to do it in 2 weeks. And once this is all put together, that's a lot more likely, which is cool.
Right. And so it accomplishes the baseline. Like it really is. Like I'm always looking, how can I make it so that my mid-ticket offers are building momentum and leverage for the bigger thing that I'm working on. So I focus first on how can I serve my premium people, or is there a way that I can make the delivery of my mid-ticket still serve the premium people? And I think we did that, because I think what we talked about, what we revealed, for one, it can make your onboarding process better, right? If it makes your onboarding process that helps you serve your premium better. For the premium people, it's pretty realistic that some portion will want to in-house some portion of this, and you having a mechanism to say, let me create space for that in my community, right? Where it's like, let me create space where, maybe they're not paying for as much of the service. They're dropping down to some other aspects, but they want to keep the updates. They want to keep the magic link. They want to keep these things. Well, here's what that would look like. Like, you can pay for access for your person to stay in our community, stay knowing these things, keep access to the information, and you at least have a reasonable, like, what does that continual retainer for their team look like if you guys aren't running all the services?
Right.
And like, how to describe this? It's not that you have to optimize for that. Like, you still make it reasonable.
Yeah.
For what, meaning reasonable for you, where it's like what it takes you and but at least gives you a path where you say, like, hey, we're not claiming that the only way that you do this is doing it through us forever, right? Like, here's what the process looks like, and feel free if you want to in-house it. Yeah. Here's what it would look like to keep access to what we do and all of that. And having an answer for that, I think, gives people more confidence to be like, all right, this feels like where I can plant a flag long term.
My goal, though, from the book Simplify, my goal is to make it cheaper than they get it in-house. Like that, my goal is not to just make it crazy. Like, I'm not trying to maximize profit as much as maximize clients for life utility,
Right. And I think that's part of what's nice about this is, like, it kind of gives you the backing to be able to say, hey, call my bluff on this, right? Like, I'm literally going to show you how we onboard our team. If you could figure out a way that you can do this process and not need my tools that I've developed to do this in order to drastically feel like it's worth the money, then you should do it without me, right? Like, like if you truly feel that way, you should do it without me. Because, like, there's aspects of what you built that, like, I would never recommend that you just let people use for free, like the Magic Link, that software that you've developed that makes that process, easy, right? Like, yeah, they have to keep paying you if you're going to keeping their audiences updated, right? So yeah, I think you've designed it well, where you have a really solid, like, even teaching them how to do it ends up being more clear sales for why they should just continue anyway. Right. And yet doing this still helps your onboarding. So like you get to kill all sorts of birds with only one stone. It's just, you're just
win.
You're a bird slaughtering machine. You like,
watch out. What was his name? Watch out, Dick Cheney. I've got the gun now. Hope that doesn't get banned. That's a metaphor for killing multiple birds with one stone.
Indeed.
Hopefully I don't go dark.
This stream now cut off.
Yeah, I like that. That's exciting. I could think, there's one more, like probably a fourth video would be, from my lender partners or people that are like recruiting realtors. Like, all right, now here's how you leverage this. I mean, really, this is how you leverage it for the team. This is how, that would probably be, number 4. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and what I love is, like, again, if you do this, so like that, and you're right, that might be the 4th one. So that 4th one, the offer is, geared toward the lenders or the team owners or whatever, and you say like, hey, this offer is all about how do you leverage the system in order to get this end result. But like, because you've completed those other mid-ticket offers, you could also just provide those. They just get access to them, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
So all you have to deliver on is the new content, is the new portion. Right. Man, I love it. I love it so much. And you could decide, it might make sense to do one that's dedicated more for the team owners, one that's dedicated more for the lenders.
Right.
Yeah. And then what other problems do you find people running into in your world that like you'd like to have the solutions for?
Yeah, well, I'm talking. I mean, at the end of the day, like 1, 2, and 3 are pretty evergreen,
right?
But then, the goal is, it can serve multiple audiences. So I've got a chiropractor right now that is, testing this out. I've got my client that runs the podcast. There could be a 4th one for podcasts. I'm talking to some people right now that are in EXP. They are wanting to use referrals while you sleep internally to go after their Dream 100 real estate group, to build their downline. And I mean, that right there could open up, like, one of the things that I was working on this weekend, which I'm super stoked about, is deeper training on how to actually get the most out of the Duo videos, and specifically embedding NLP commands, such as at the very beginning, call me because I have your best interest in mind. In the middle, Frank Kern, he says, when you do your video, have your call to action multiple times. It's usually go to a website. Well, for our clients, whether it's now or 7 years from now, like the embedded command is really call me when you're thinking about moving. And because I watched this guy that's got this really expensive marketing company, and everything that he was saying is like, oh, this is what we do. But he explained it really well. Like, at the end of the day, we're wanting to speak to people's subconscious. And so I was unfolding that. So, I mean, just, we talk about the content, but then there can be a really, really good training on, how do you optimize the content for your Duo videos to, do what we're wanting to do. So there's so much there.
Love that. Yeah. Man. So how do we implement that in this? How do we implement that in this? So that what are the things that we need to be saying to say that people buy the mid-ticket offers when what or like because for us it's not like neither of us want anybody to call us. Like I'd be okay with people texting me, but really what I want like essentially for you, people join referrals while you sleep when they're ready to have their content marketing done on autopilot, right? Like when they're like, and that may not be the best way to word that offer, but that's the reason why they're coming to you when they want to make their marketing actually feel easy, effortless, and automated.
Right.
And then, people, for me, when they want to get their business needs done in a tenth of time, or get done in one session what used to take 3 months, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to knock out your quarterly rocks,
right?
And how does someone raise their hand in your world?
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be I see it in three forms currently, right? It's maybe four. So I look at it from the low level up to the top, right? So at the low level, it's join my email list in order to stay aware of what I'm up to, right? I share value through my email list, right? So like that's kind of the first entry, where it's like you want the result, your lowest entry into that process is to join my email list to stay up to date on the cool things that I'm working on and how I can help you, right? The next rung up the ladder is to buy the mid-ticket offers, the courses, the trainings, the cohorts, that sort of thing, in order to get more of that project type outcome, right? So that's the next level. The third level is join Amp Intel Elite, where you get the continual help in a community of people who are all working to do the same things, and we're implementing get shipped done sessions and that sort of thing to accomplish what you need to accomplish. And then the highest level, but this is what's interesting, is that I'm not actually looking to get a ton more people at the highest level, right? So so keep that in mind. But the highest level is when people have the cash available, the time available, and they know that they just want to get their rocks done. That's when they reach out to me directly. And I actually have right now, if I recall, I have let me see. tidycal.com/Zach Hammer. Is that what it's set up at? Let me see. I'll have to see if I can get this. Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's funny. Here, let me show you this. I couldn't remember where I used the get shipped done. I couldn't remember. It's funny to me that we went that route, but you see, I did not set this up, or I did not set this up for the show. Am I sharing my screen currently? Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, so this is one of the other ways that people can go tidycal.com/Zach Hammer, and they can book these sessions. I have strategy sessions and acceleration sessions. The only difference between the two is that strategy sessions are honestly a lot like what we just did today, where part of what we needed to get clear on is what do our next steps look like? What are the opportunities? And we haven't fully finished this yet, but that's kind of the way that I think of through a strategy session. It's less the outcome is that you have a clear plan, right? Then acceleration sessions are more like what we started with like getting the logo done, actually doing the work. So it's like we laid out, okay, we're going to accomplish this this specific mid-ticket offer. We're working together to actually do it live. Anyway, so like that's the other way that somebody could take action. They either reach out to me and we talk about what they need and they book the sessions that are necessary. Or if somebody wanted to, they can literally book a session and book it on my calendar. And if they paid in advance, like I'm good to do the sessions if they can find the time. So,
right.
Anyway, so does that make sense? So those are my four levels. And so the other way that you can think about it, I I don't know exactly the action that I want somebody to take. I haven't optimized for this yet. But if somebody did reach out to me directly, I at this point could at least start to meaningfully say, well, hey, are you at the level where like you just need to get this done and this price point works for you? Well, then that's probably your best option, right? And then over time, my expectation is that I will only have so many of those times available. So my demand for that time goes up, my price goes up too, until I start getting that price elasticity point where for people to book those sessions, it starts becoming more and more expensive, right? And so the demand on my time starts dictating those prices. And it's like, for anybody who can't afford that, that's where Amp Until Elite works. And for anybody who that doesn't make sense, that's where the mid-ticket offers make sense. And for everybody, signing up on my list and getting access to the information that I publish for free. So that's kind of the top-down approach on that. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You know, one of the things is the other Zach mentions is, you know, he's like, you got your mid-ticket, and then, you know, just offer your premium, you know, the people that you know, so you can get them in. And,
right.
Those are the two options there. But I like that. I like your levels. It's true, you know. You know, I think if you've got big goals and like you really want to get stuff done, you or your team, by far it makes the most sense for them to reach out to you. It's amazing that that was called Get Ship Done when you know that's what this is. This is named. Pretty crazy.
Indeed. Yeah, I remembered that I came up with that name. I couldn't remember where I put it or where I used it, or what I used it for. But yeah, so I don't know. It makes sense because essentially that's what we're doing. These live working sessions are how I work with clients. So it's a show where, you know, we're going to be working on your stuff like we did. We're going to be working on my stuff as well. But like, that's what we're displaying. We're displaying live what it's like to work with me. And yeah, anyway, and that's that. You know.
Yeah. So I guess mine is, you know, sign up for the mid-ticket offer or apply for the 90-day trial. And
right.
You know, I have noticed that to apply for the 90-day trial, like we do have some, like you've got to be successful in real estate.
Right.
Those are the people that I found actually get the most out of it. Like if you've got more time than money, you know, after this training, you can just do it yourself, right? I
love that. So yours is mid tickets and the apply to work with me. I think I might have to steal that. I really like the apply, like that as a concept, because essentially that's what I was just describing. Is I'm saying like, hey, if somebody reaches out to me, if you can't afford the time with me, I don't see that as like a moral failure or like that everyone should be able to afford it, right? Like legitimately, my goal has always been, I want to never hold anything back, and that people choose their level of intimacy with me, either just the email list, buying the product, buying the premium, or buying one-on-one time, basically depending on like their demands and their needs. Right now, I'm not a slave, so it makes sense that I'm going to set the pricing of that time with me based on the demands on my time and based on the competition for that time. And so not everybody's going to be able to get access to that time. That's fair, right? Like that's fair that I keep those separate. But the reality is, if somebody applies to work with me, even if it's not a good fit for them to work one-on-one, I have other ways, other capacities that I can help them. And I would rather say like, hey, this is not a good fit for you right now, but this might be, right? Or this right. Ticket might be, these products might be a good fit. Here's how you get access to that, get into my world. So I really like that. I like that kind of the primary being, you know, for both of us. I would say for you, it's the apply for a 90-day trial, right? And then for me, 90-day trial. And then for me, it's apply to work with me.
Right.
And the reality is that if we're doing this right, for me, 99% of people probably will not be where they work with me directly, right? But it's like me presenting the high end and the low end. Like I could present like, hey, here, opt in here in order to get this thing, or join my email list. This is where this next episode is going to be coming out, right? Like there's, tofu, mofu, bofu. The typical strategy there is that you present people both your tofu and your bofu. Your tofus point to mofus, and your mofus point to bofus, but you're presenting the top and the bottom at the same time, right? So I think strategically, it's like for you, kind of the same thing. What are the ways that people are coming into your world? That's the top end of the funnel, and sort of the continual offers that you make, that you test and see what to do, but then you're always presenting the top end, and the top end for you is the apply for the referrals while you sleep, system. And for anybody that's not a good fit for that, you leverage your mid tickets, you leverage that as the downsell. For me, same thing. It's apply to work with me directly. That's going to be the top end of how somebody can engage me. It's just not everyone's going to be able to, and I'm not looking to maximize that. But if I have those applications coming in, then that makes it easy for me to point them in the right direction based on their needs.
Right.
That feels really good to me in terms of like how to think about that and structure that. So thank you for that. So, okay. So yours is apply for 90 day, and mine is apply to work with me. Okay. So if that's the case, right? That sounds right. I'm understanding that right? I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Yeah. No, that's correct. Yeah. The mid ticket or apply for the 90-day trial.
And okay, so with that, how do you deploy on the NLP portion? And we're past time, so we'll have to hop off after this, I think. But
so I mean, you are my next appointment.
Right. Indeed. Yeah. I mean, maybe this is part of what we do. Maybe we're transitioning that. That part of our process is like this is the live working session, but we do content separately. So anyway, but
so that's a good question. Okay, I actually had that. What would the NLP? So if you want, I can. Let's see. So how did I get it with? So what I did was I took my Claude project for referrals while you sleep, and I found that video that had like the 10 things. I was like, hey, help me find the NLP words for this.
Right.
And it was like, save this video, share this insight, reach out, but then it boiled down to call me. And that's the best one for the renters. So,
but like, what does that look like? What does that look like in the flow of the episode? So like, when I think about NLP, I think like, so the call to action is call me, right? So, and then mine is, apply to work with me, right? Or whatever, right? So like, kind of role play that in the phase of like, say we're going to do an episode for you. Like, do you know what you want to talk about yet for your show, for instance?
It's probably going to be this.
the NLP.
It's going to be, it's going to be about the NLP videos and the idea that you really want to hit the subconscious.
Okay, so in that episode, walk me through like, okay, so you really want to hit the subconscious, right? Like you're laying out that concept, you're talking about that. Now, how do you put in the NLP command of apply for the 90-day trial in this way where like it feels in the flow of the content? I don't know. Can you demonstrate that for me?
Let me show you how I'm planning to do it with the real estate agent, and then you can kind of help me. All right.
Yeah,
see if I can present this screen. I think this is it. Let's see if this works. Yeah, here we go. So we'll look through here. So here was my notes, kind of it was a great YouTube video by this guy named Mark Young with Joe Polish.
Okay.
And, my command was, hey, act as an expert trainer, create training for these realtors to use this information. And I believe this is the one. So the idea was, in the beginning, be like, hey, this is Charlie Madison. Call me because I am your trusted realtor. Now, that's not exactly what it is, but let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah. So I want the embedded command to be call me, and then use the word because, and it's one of these things. Call me because you can count on me. Call me because I'll represent you honestly and fairly at all times. Call me because I want to get you every dollar I can. Call me because I want to get you the best price I can. And so the idea is, at the beginning, hey, when you're ready to make your move, call me because I'll always be on your side. Somewhere around the 5-minute mark. If you've got questions about anything we've discussed, call me because I want to help you figure out the best option for me at the end. Remember, when you're thinking about real estate, call me because I want what's best for you. So that's the framework.
Okay, so the framework is that helps a ton. So the framework of the actual process there is when you want X, do the embedded command because of this, right? So when you want this thing that you want, do this. So for you in these episodes, it's how would you describe it right now? So I mean, obviously, like there's the promise of referrals while you sleep, which is referrals while you sleep, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when you want your content marketing to actually work.
So
go ahead.
So one of the terms I'm playing with that I really like is what my enemy is digital amnesia.
Okay.
Which I think is just a great description. When you want, but I mean, so it could be, when you want to never be forgotten by people when you want consistent closings, when you want to not have to work, I wouldn't do that. When you want to only work with clients who appreciate you, when you want to know you'll never be forgotten, when you want, at the end of the day, you want big, easy, consistent checks.
Okay, I have an idea.
All right.
When you want to live rent-free in the minds of your best clients, call me. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that is the ideal outcome, right? So that is one of the things that I've learned. We want to state it in the positive if we can. When you want this positive outcome, right? And I think people connect to that idea of living rent free in somebody's mind, right? Because like that covers the that feeling of they can't get you out of their head, right? And you're there and present and there's a connection to that phrase. People understand that idea that he's living rent free in your head, right?
Right.
So that might be your phrase there. So when you want to live rent free in the minds of your best clients, because that's the other thing that you're saying. It's it's not everybody. It's specifically the best. perfect, the ideal client, right?
Yeah, it's like quality. It's funny. So I was actually talking to this um, really successful coach. He used to coach with Chet Holmes, Tony
Right.
Robbins. He coaches a lot of the. He used to like. He kind of helped launch Craig Proctor Coaching. Been around, and we talk about the Dream 100 and quality and working with great partners. And he
Right.
told me he had a conversation with someone that said, "Hey, I've got this lead magnet that will fill up your calendar every day with agents, and I'll fill up your calendar, and you just call them and qualify them and close them, and we'll split the money." I was like, "Oh, great! Like you'll become you'll become an ISA, you know."
Right.
But when we talked, and he's like, "But I don't want that. Like I don't want to talk to 100 low quality, low, like I'm not low profitable leads every day. I don't want to just sit at my, just like I just want to talk to a few quality people that
Right.
can get me to 100 grand a month.
Right.
Like I want to be targeted. I want to be specific, and that's the difference, right? Like
Right.
you don't have to talk to 1,000 people to close 10. You can talk to 12 to close 10.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I think it would be go to, maybe rentfreetrial.com and apply.
Yeah,
It could
right.
be,
Right.
and that's what it'd be like, because that's what he said. Like 7-word phrase that gets, stuck in their head. Like,
Right.
like go to rentfreetrial.com and
Yeah.
apply.
Right. Yeah. I
Or
love that. I love
whatever it
that.
is. Yeah.
I love that. And yeah. Now I'm trying to, so that I mean, that really unlocks it for me, because that's when you want desired outcome and optimizing for the desired outcome that you want to speak into somebody, do this action, and like optimizing for that action in as clear and concise a way as possible. And then you also include the because, and for you, what's the because?
Because you deserve consistent, fun outcomes. You deserve easy, consistent commissions. Because I want the life that I have for you.
Right. Right.
Because you can't believe it until you see it.
Right. So
Because you've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, I would say I think out of those I most love the because I want you to experience the magic of what I've unlocked for myself, right? Like I love, because honestly I feel like that's a big part of this for you, where it is like and that conveys a number of things to people. That conveys like there's a bit of a personal mission to unlock this for other people that I know is part of what's true for you on this. But it also conveys this reality that you're an operator. You a practitioner. That's the word that I'm looking for. Like this is not, you just came up with this idea. This is what I do for myself. I want to give it to you. Right? Which is very different than like the person who just went through a course and is now suddenly a marketing genius is in their mind, right? Like, no, this is like, I've actually proven this out in the real world. I want you to experience what I've already experienced. It makes it feel like when we look at the value equation, the perceived likelihood of that ideal future being one of those parts of the thing, the fact that you have already achieved it and you're bringing them back the path to the promised land that you've already found feels like a much more sure thing than I have this idea. Do you want to try it with me? Right. It's like, no, I've been there. I've seen the promised land, like milk, honey, all the things flowing, right? Like, come with me.
Here now.
Yeah.
Come join me.
Here is the luxury jet that I'm sending to you that if you get on it will bring you to me here in the promised land.
Right.
But yeah. So I love that. So because I want you to experience, the magic of what I've been able to achieve, like something like that. I think in that vein, I really like that. Right. I don't know. What do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I love that. And I think what I love as I came up with this is, so like we know the Cialdini thing about the word because is, when that training happened, it was, they ran a test at a college on, can I get in front of you to get copies? And they gave them a really good reason, because I'm running late for this. And they kept getting worse and worse and worse reasons. And eventually the reason was, can I get in front of you because I hate lines?
Right.
And 80% of people still said yes.
Right.
So like the word because is needed. The back end can be malleable. And so I want a plethora. I'm using scientific words today, I guess. I want a bunch of different becauses that are true. Because I think what I found that's cool is it does, like, it's saying the same thing over and over without sounding repetitive. Like, I mean, for the realtor, when you're ready to move, call me, because I'll always be on your side. If you have any questions about anything we've discussed, call me, because I want to help you figure out the best option for you. Remember, when you're thinking about real estate, call me, because I want, that's I don't know. That seems like a massive unlock.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's super powerful to to understand the way that these things tend to work as well, which is it's less like any individual video does the job, and it's more that continual influence that you're building over time that really does the work. And so being able to be really clear and specific to say, here is the ideal outcome that sort of, for me, flows people into all the rest of them. I think that's clear. And then it's the, when you want this, do this, because I think that's really powerful. I mean, it's making me rethink, like, what do I want as my ideal? And that might change over time, but because I like the idea of apply to work with me, because it at least gets them into my world of, like, they're starting to think about, Zach may not have time to do this personally. And do I want that, or do I want them to reach out and I point them in the right direction? Because I do like that aspect for real estate agents, where there's kind of this reality of, if you have this need, call me, because I can likely help you. Now, typically their average ticket price is going to be higher. So when somebody has that need, it makes sense to give individualized attention. For me, there's going to be a lot of people who will want to reach out that it's not going to make sense for me to individualize the attention, because the cost, the value won't be there. It's not that I don't want to help them, but the time to sort through who makes sense for the individual attention versus not, that would ultimately, like, that becomes part of the problem. There's too many opportunities, right? So the apply potentially does work well. It could be apply for a strategy session, a free strategy session. I love the way our buddy Adam Scheibel. Have you met Adam? Yeah. I haven't met him. No, I've gone through a lot of his content because you've referenced it, but I haven't met him personally.
Really good content. Actually signed up for his Download Growth Club.
Right.
even though he's, offered to just let me have some of it, I wanted to buy it. And
Right.
so he's got, I think, 3 types of offers that he likes, and I'm looking these up because it was pretty good. And of course, one's your, premium anytime offer, which is what we're talking about. He said, anytime offers. This is something that your audience can jump into anytime, which is kind of what we're talking about. Anyone can jump into hiring you one-on-one,
Right.
consulting. The next are campaign offers, which is what we're talking about with the mid-ticket, which hurts, which helps.
Right.
And then third is recurring income offers. The one thing he didn't mention here, and then he said evergreen offers, which, is kind of the low ticket. One of the things
Right.
he didn't mention here was lead magnets or whatever to get people in. But his free offers, though, that's actually what I wanted to look at. He's got once a month he'll do a podcast on, and so you can it's 30 minutes. He says, "What's your number one problem?" They solve it for that 30 minutes, and he shares that as content. So that's an offer.
Right.
Another, he's got a consultation. It's a like one-on-one consultation to see if they're a good fit, for 20 minutes. Right. And it's funny, he says in bold, before you choose a time, this is not a free 20-minute Q&A. This is not a free 20-minute coaching. This is just analyze what you're doing, if you're ready for the next level, and see if you're a good fit.
Right.
And so he's got a number of free things that get in there, and he's got a couple different, he's actually doing a live workshop in Nashville in April.
Nice.
Oh, well, I have to meet that.
I was gonna say, do I hear you saying "shut up and take my money"?
Kind of. I don't. We'll see. He says apply for one of the 12 spots. So it's probably for people that already have podcasts.
Right.
But I hope to meet him while he's here. That's good to know.
Yeah. All right, so let me see if I'm hearing right some of what you're saying. I'm not sure if I'm completely understanding, but you have your anytime offers, and for me that would be like a one-on-one if you're willing to pay, right?
Yeah.
You have your campaign offers. That's kind of like the we've got this thing coming up, right? That sort of mid-ticket offers, the promos around them, that sort of thing. You have your recurring income offers. I get what that is. I don't know mentally.
Which for us, it's probably, it's your, Amp Intel Elite.
Right.
His was his Download Growth Club. That was like $97 a month.
Okay. And then your Evergreen, which are like the lower ticket ones, right?
Yeah. So he's got.
Well, and so tell me again how this fits back into like the overall NLP thing. So those are the types of offers. How are we leveraging them?
How are we talking about? It was just like the question is, how do we get people into our world? Like, what's the offer that we've got, right? And so, for realtors and lenders, it's really simple. It's really one call to action, call.
Right.
I think for us, it's what I'm saying is for us, it's going to be flexible. It's going to be depending on what we're pushing at the time. So I know, like for him, for his podcast, he usually has like one call to action that he runs for, I don't know, let's say 90 days at a time,
Right.
And he's got his freebies, he's got his lead stuff, he's got his live event, he's got his like evergreen, podcast launch blueprint.
Right.
He's got it. Yeah. So that was the point. It's going to be flexible for us.
The other thing that it makes me think about too, makes me think about the super signature. And and like, because I really love the way that Dean Jackson leverages the super signature, where it's like you could put out whatever content you're putting out, and then the super signature is plus whenever you're ready, here's some other ways that I can help you, and it sort of just goes through. When you want this, here's what you do, right? It really is that when you want this, do this, right? And you could lay out some of those different levels of how you're willing to help people, and really that's the answer, right? It's like people could somewhat self-sort through that vein. And so yeah, your low-hanging fruit is definitely the, like, you sort of want an answer for that when you want the thing that everybody wants, go sign up for this thing or whatever. That's like my main thing that gets you into my world so that I can continue communicating with you. And then as needed, it's like, when you want this, here's the solution. And it probably in that flow, it's going to be contextual. I'd really love, like, over time, we should think about this. How do we get that same end result where it's as powerful as having one offer continually, but that still lets you get people into your other parts of your world effectively? It works in real estate and lending because the nature of the offers are so powerful. But when you're dealing with multivariant offers like us, where there's like different engagement levels.
Well, in a lot of ways, I almost wish that we had more offers in real estate. And that, I don't know this for a fact, but I've seen that, Frank Kern, those guys, they say, Dan Kennedy, Bill Glazer, they're like, you want to have a ton of offers. Like, you want to always be offering different stuff. Kind of the hard thing with real estate is really we got one offer.
Right.
But what changes is the time. So the thing is, I want my one offer in front of you when you're ready.
Right.
Whereas for us, it's kind of nice that, because like, what was it? Number one, don't be boring. Right. And Hormozy, we said it 3 times. We got to do 10 burpees.
Right.
Hormozy, he says, like, you find out what your offer is, and then, you put different wrapping. You got to keep it fresh, not boring. And, but yeah, I would like to, I think that's pretty good for mine. 90-day trial. It's pretty hard to beat that for a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Could be some freebies, but
I'll need to think about that for me, where it's like really thinking about what's the best way for somebody to, and what it could be is, it could be like, maybe it is something like I get like workwithzach.com or something, and essentially like maybe part of what that is a simple, easy, dynamic flow that sort of says, like, from the lowest to the highest kind of engagement, like, do you want more information on these or whatever, and people can somewhat self-filter and self-select to see, like, what ways can I help you, right? Like, what,
right,
and for some people it might make sense to say, like, hey, yeah, let's book a time, let's talk. And for other people it might be more like, hey, here's some free resources, and you'll be hearing about offers that might be relevant to you. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, I want to explore something real quick, because I feel like I want to look at what Smart Passive Income is doing. I don't know why, but I feel like on their vein, like what they do, we're a community built with ambition. Here, are you ready? So like they have their community that's that they're offering right at the top here. Let me pull this over here, share my screen real quick, and then we'll call this one a wrap in just a second.
Okay. But before we leave, I would like us to come up with an intention of what we want our next session to be about.
Yeah, that sounds good. We're a community. I'm sharing my screen, right?
Yep.
Get access, free resources, blog, guides, newsletter, tool. If I just click free resources, check out the tools, explore. Yeah, I mean, this would be a good like next step to this would be a good good thing to look at. Like I'm curious in like on the Smart Passive Income podcast now, like what he promotes and what his offer sounds like. Because this is kind of the same thing, right? Where like there's a big community, there's a big set of resources, there's lots of things, everything from free to expensive. Curious for him what his offer looks like, because I feel like it's the kind of thing where, you know, if you want to get started, go here. And like and there, yeah, I could see there being like a self-assessment of figuring out, like it could just be go to smartpassiveincome.com, right? And then it sort of lets you self-select for where you should be going, like where in his world you should be going, right? Like you go there there first. He's got what appears to be the premium offer at the top. It's kind of displaying the premium offer. We're a community. Here's why you'd be a good fit. Are you ready to join? Okay, so like the whole, discover which membership is right for you. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's kind of that self-assessment. I don't know why this came to mind. This was like a subconscious based on what we're talking about. I felt like we would find a good answer here. Okay, so learn our 3-step process, choose your niche, full-time, see included courses and mini courses, see the upcoming accelerator schedule. I'm not seeing the different levels here. Workshops, accelerators, masterminds. Okay, so these are the different things that he offers, I think. Okay, start, accelerate, thrive. Do it yourself, do it together. Interesting. Not sure which membership is right. Watch a video. Yeah, I think having clarity of like.
He's also got the pop-up right away on the right. Available now, our free course. So I mean, that's his number one thing is he wants to get your email.
Right. And up here too.
And that's one of the things that I love Perry Marshall does. He does the same thing. He calls it the labyrinth. As he creates multiple offers, he ends up having I'm signed up to like 3 of his auto emails, because like one talks about like different things, but they all flow together. He's like, I want people to get into my labyrinth of content where they're just, getting all my different offers. And, I guess I could have an email list. In a way, it sounds kind of silly when my offer is a trial, but the trial does take some time. It takes a couple hours to get onboarded. So,
well, like honestly, like looking for those things where it's like, what's the quick hit thing that people want? Like for you, honestly, you know what you could do? Like a great free offer for you would be, here's get my list of your 1 year, like you might need to change the wording on this just so that people understand it immediately, but like your 1 year weekly content plan in real estate, right? Like that's something that you could offer for free from what you already have. and it would be the kind of thing that somebody would feel like, this is exactly like, it solves an immediate need no matter what, but it also introduces to you, this is somebody that's already thinking about content marketing, and now you can bring them into your world of like, how do you do this right? Right. And it's really valuable and easy to deliver, and still sets you up on everything else. And so like for him, it's the start from scratch, where it's like, he's looking at the beginner there. You probably aren't exactly looking for the beginner. You want somebody that's like, what's the thing that I could offer somebody who's already successful, but like this thing that they need that I can deliver easily.
Yeah, I've got like the 4 questions that I'd come up with is like, I want more time, I want more money, I want more systems, I want to grow my team. Like those are kind of my 4 pillars, I think, that I've come up with.
Right. Your past education, launch, follow weekly. Yeah, I think. Yeah, this is a good example of how to do this. So I think for me, probably my core offer essentially needs to be like, how do I set it up so that, hey, when you're ready, go here. Go here, and the go here is essentially like the thing that quickly gets them going in the right direction for whatever they need, right? Where it's always the same thing, where it's, if you want the free stuff, it's there and it's easy to find, right? Where it's like look at this. So somebody comes to smartpassiveincome.com, free resources right here up at the top, plus you got the call to action. And then the other thing that they're doing is he's pointing out the premium here as well, right? So like if I click this is going to be the 3 different levels, and then on here it's just the good, better, best, right? In terms of what they could do, and on the big one there's a wait list, right? And then so that makes sense. So tofu is going to be the free stuff. Mofu is going to be the courses. Can you buy the courses individually? Let's see. See what you learn. Okay, can I buy this? I mean, he's just got it as part of the other stuff. I wonder if he offers them as one-offs or not ever. Because he may not. Let's try. Okay, so this one's the free one. What about this one? Can I buy this one directly? Yeah, I don't know. So like he may or may not be he may or may not be selling these one off. So he may not be doing the mid-ticket offer portion. But I like that idea of it essentially being like, what you think through is you send them to one place, and that one place kind of points them in the same direction. So it's like, hey, when you want the free resources, you go to zachhammer.me, right? If you want to apply to work with me, go to zachhammer.me and click apply to work with Zach, right? Like, I don't know, does that make sense? And so it's always like, what you're reiterating is go here to move forward, and whatever way you need to move forward, it's all found there. I like that idea. I think that makes sense. Okay, and then you said you want, before we end, we want to what? We want to set the intention of what we're working on next?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Yeah, so I think, so my original intention in asking about what things you're working on, what things I need to work on, my original intention is to see, is there a way that us working on those things accomplishes something for both of us? Because like, I think I ultimately need to be able to focus and say, I know I know this time or this thing is going to be used for this thing, and we're aligned in moving forward. Because otherwise I'll do the same thing in general. I will. It's easier for me to help you than it is to work on my own stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll naturally default to that, even if I'm not trying to. So I mean, ideally for me, part of what we'd work on is the next thing for my needs, and my needs right now would be getting a mid-ticket offer out about Brandy, right? About getting that. I mean, that's at least my top line thing, because I don't have the clarity yet that you do around. I've got this definite easy to sell community, if that makes sense,
right?
Or offer. I don't have that yet. I do have a community. I do have a thing, but it's not like I need to build my audience first. I need to build it around these other offers and other things first.
Right.
And so like I could go either way. Like if we set it up that working on, going back to earlier in our conversations, not this conversation, but just earlier in general, I can see how me working on your mid-ticket offers, if I do them in a way that I can promote to my audience and still make money off of it, like I could see how that still moves me forward. If it helps me grow my list, if it helps both of us, right? I do see that as a potential path for this as well. If it ends up feeling like it feels like too much of a diversion for you to be able to literally just focus on my stuff, that might be how we have to do it in order to get things to a point for me where I could still do the other stuff that I need to. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think mutually. I mean, I think that's why this works so well. Like,
right.
Working the mid-ticket offer for you, like that's stuff that can like help my clients. You know, I mean,
right.
I think that's good in learning it. So, like I'm okay splitting it up, however we need to do. You're better at getting stuff done. So, whichever way we need to do that.
Right.
So, I mean, my thought is it probably makes sense to work on yours next since we worked on mine today.
Right. Yeah, that sounds good. And so then setting the intention then on that. So what I have to do, really what I need to do is I need to go through and assess what do I have done and what would it look like to deliver on it as quickly as possible, right? Like what would that process look like? The other thing that I need to do, I think that we don't have with this is, let's see, crisp live transcribe. Let's see if there's live transcribe. Captions. I wonder if Mac Whisper will do this for me. So the one potential downside to us working in StreamYard for this is one of the things that I find really useful is being able to access the transcription of what we've literally been talking about and immediately work with it. And I don't see if we have a way to do that in here. Let me see. So I know style, I know record, upload local meetings. We got that going. Settings, layouts, guests, general recording, hotkeys. Like I have a transcript going right now, but I don't have one that I can access that's like been paying attention to what we're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And Chris can't get in on this?
Let me look. I don't know if it. Crisp can get in, but Crisp doesn't do it live. I've never been able to do it live with Crisp. The transcript will happen after. Does that make sense? It'll process, and then I get the transcript. Let's see. Yeah, so like I don't see anything in there live right now. Let's try this. So Zoom meeting detected. Grant and system settings. Okay. Quit and reopen that. So here's part of how I would often do this process. Let me show this real quick. Share screen, entire screen, screen 2. It's possible I have too many tabs open. My thing's getting a little bit buggy. Let me pull this out. Otherwise, things are looking like they're going to crash on me. All right, and then let me. Come on, there we go. Ah, right there. That's what I want. All right, and then I want to close all these tabs. Okay, perfect. That should help that. Okay, and then over here, let's come back. Let's go to Perplexity and say, I'm looking for an app that can run on my Mac that will give me a live transcription during meetings. It needs to run on my Mac and use my mic and system audio for the transcription. The key thing that's important is a live transcription, not just a transcription after the fact. Please research options for me. Live captions, real time. Okay. Any app, including transcribes live conversations, processes audio on device for privacy, is available. Requires app. Okay. How? Okay. So this might do what we need to. Okay. So let's see what this looks like. That's not what I'm looking for. Transcribe, live captions. All right, let's take a look at what that would look like. And this thing's bogging down. Okay. Nope. Go away. Settings, system settings. Live captions. Automatically display captions across on. Font family, default. Okay. Hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it crashed on me. While I was getting that set up. Okay, so let me look and see if this thing still seems like it's even possible. What's this one do? Three times. On and off. What does this do? Okay. Trying to turn on this live captions thing. I don't know if it'll work or not. Let's see. And it's possible it'll just take too much resources in order to be able to run effectively while we're doing stuff like this. What about this whisper transcription? All right, let's look at this. Whisper transcription. Just drag all transcriptions. Yeah, I don't know if that'll work. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'll have to see if we can find a way. If we can find a way to do that. So ultimately what I need to solve for is how can I get it so like we'll end up with the transcription after the fact on this. I'd be able to transcribe videos as we're doing it. But working with the transcript of what we've already been talking about I don't know if this does anything that lets us do that. So we'll see. But either way, so yeah, the next thing for us to work on though, on the next session of Get Shipped Done, would be that we go down the path of working on Brandy, and launch and like what it would take to launch that as a mid-ticket offer. So that's kind of the overarching goal. Does that make sense?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. We just got some ship done. So
nice. Nice. What was your big insight takeaway from it?
Big insight. I mean, I like the idea. There's a couple of insights. So I like the idea of applying for a strategy session and just what that does. Kind of making that clear as part of the process. I like the insight of how we can leverage NLP and the content of like what is the call to action. Like that's a powerful takeaway. I like that framework of when this, do this, because. I like that framework.
Yeah.
I like trying to boil that down, if ever possible, to be able to like really simplify what your call to action is, so that you're building that consistency and that repetition, so that like no matter what people are doing, you're always telling them to do the same thing. I think that right. That's useful. Yeah. And then just for you, I really like that we were able to look through your offer to figure out how we can get you what you want to do, of having the end result of a thing that you could send anybody through, but seeing the path for how to get there where like it feels more doable. Like the bite-sized right. pieces each time feel like they're more achievable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What about for you?
Yeah, I love the when you want X command because like, that was really nice.
Yeah.
To have it templatized like that.
Right.
Right. Yeah, the 4 mid-ticket offers, have those laid out.
Right.
And then just that this works. I mean, we got a lot done.
Right.
And it was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, agreed. And I think as we keep doing this, we'll really be able to dial in this process and figure out what we can do and what it takes. I mean, really, we're kind of live building a new thing that I haven't really seen being done. Not in a way that like not what we're doing. It's like the equivalent, like just completely working out loud. You know, doing the whole process in public as part of the asset of this. And I think we'll learn what works well for this and what doesn't. And we have some ideas, some hopes about what it might be able to solve, but it may not be able to solve everything, and it may not even be the kind of thing that anybody finds valuable. I mean, if you do, I see we got a couple of viewers. If you happen to actually be watching and listening to this right now, and you found just this us working live thing to be useful, drop a comment, let us know, because I'm curious. And if so, what you got out of it, right? Theoretically, with StreamYard, we should be able to see those comments come through. I don't know if they come through quickly or not, so we'll give it a second. But I think we're too early in this process to know if it's working or not. I think this is kind of the sort of thing that, as people know to expect what it is, like they'll know if they want to hop in, if they want to throw it on or not. And either way for us, I mean, we're doing one of the things that in the AI age is really important, which is capturing everything. And so right. Even if people don't watch this, there are definitely segments from this that we could throw into something like Opus Clip or Vizard and be able to pull out good content from it. So right. So yeah, I think there's power there either way. But
Well, one of my kids is losing their mind, so I better go do what I can do to fix it.
All right, sounds good. Well, there we go. That's a session of Get Shipped Done.
Done. All right, bye.